Hey, I'm Mr. Hartwig,
And I'm Mr. Chen.
and welcome to our second video in our three-video series. This one is focusing on how not to fail IB Biology HL exam, paper 2.
All right, I'll get us started. The first fact is that the IB paper 2 is roughly 2 hours and 15 minutes with 72 marks. This leaves you about 2 minutes for every mark, so just be sure to keep that in mind when answering the questions. And something that you should consider as well while doing this is the fact that it is a 2-hour test, meaning that there is going to be a lot of writing. So make sure you actually practice handwriting over the course of the few weeks before this test.
Yeah, and going off of writing, you want to make sure that you're concise with your answers. I know some people tend to stray off topic, and that can sort of lose meaning in your answer, or you may not be getting all the marks that you're looking for. So make sure that you stay on topic. If the question is asking about photosynthesis, make sure to stay strictly on photosynthesis. Don't wander on to other topics such as cell division or anything even related to it.
Right. And to build on that, knowing these deeper concepts is really important. So knowing that, we can actually choose what we want to study here. For example, things, as Mr. Hartwig said, things like photosynthesis, cellular respiration, mitosis, meiosis, even all those things are such complicated processes that not every person will be able to understand immediately. So make sure to study hard on those instead of just going through simple things like taxonomy and looking through facts. Those simpler things will usually not be on these tests. And so if you focus on these larger, more complex topics, it will make it so you have a higher chance of answering these longer 7-point questions.
Exactly. And for the first section of paper 2, it's more about data analysis. So one way to get good practice for data analysis is actually like just revising your IA, because just learning about other people's IAs and other people's experimental processes can really help with data analysis and see like different methods used.
All right. The next tip that I have for y'all is that you can also use the Bio textbook. I know a lot of y'all don't like to open them. Me personally, I didn't open that thing up until like the last few weeks before the actual test. But it is really important. They have database questions that you can't answer in those. So actually using the textbook that you are provided is very useful, surprisingly.
Yeah, and one thing that might get overlooked is actually that first section with the database questions, because people may be so focused on the long answer questions. But remember, paper 2 is 72 marks, and 40 of those marks come from database questions. So really making sure that you have a good grasp of data analysis is my number one tip for paper 2.
And something that worked really well for me when doing the actual paper was when you get reading time for the paper 2, make sure to, I would say, skip to those long answer questions, those 3, 5, 7-point questions. Look at those questions, see what you can answer there. And when you've decided on the question that you wanted to do, formulate those answers in your head and ask for a question booklet or answer booklet. And the reason for this is when the time starts to actually answer these questions, jot all the ideas you have down on that question booklet. Clear up that mind so you have a open mind to do this data analysis instead of trying to remember what you were going to answer or using brain power on what you were going to answer for the longer answer questions. One last tip I have for y'all is that when you are actually choosing those long answer questions to answer, if you're not sure which ones to choose, focus on those 5 and 7-point questions that you can't answer. Ignore those 3-point questions. They're really not worth that much comparatively. So by choosing a 7-point question that you can answer a lot better, it will give you the best chance to get the most points.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chen.
Of
That's all we
course.
have for this video. Make sure to click on the next one for our tips and tricks on how not to fail IB Biology exam paper 3.